What is the worst movie you've ever seen? No, I'm not talking about Transformers 2 or Grown Ups 2. I mean a movie so bad, so fundamentally broken, that it leaves a pit in your stomach or makes you feel frustrated and angry beyond any reasonable measure. This is a question I've been asking myself for a while, and I think it's about time to do something about it. So I've pulled up the list of the bottom 100 lowest rated movies on IMDb, and I'm going through them one by one to find the worst movie ever. Welcome to the search for the worst. Prince of Space is the worst thing in the history of anything ever. Am I allowed to stop saying that yet? I don't even choose to say it anymore. It's like muscle memory now. But Prince of Space is a fucking weird 49-year-old sort of movie. And as much as I hate to admit this, I somehow managed to make a huge mistake when it came to watching this movie. What I mean by this is that I completely mixed up two equally old Japanese movies that both have space in the title. Which means that instead of watching Prince of Space, I mistakenly wound up watching Invaders from Space. I know the warning signs were there, like the name of the movies being completely different, but can you really blame me? It's not the first time a movie's been listed as a different name on IMDb compared to the real title, so what should I do now? Well, I guess I have no choice but to actively defy the movie wheel and do an episode about this equally bizarre Japanese space movie. And to tell you the truth, I think I might have accidentally found the greatest movie ever made. The plot is simple. Extremely simple. It's effectively an alien invasion movie, and while the fact that it is over 40 years old is not going to stop me making fun of it, I'd like to stress that I do have a special amount of respect for this movie. To give it some credit, it's actually pretty creative, and has some nice effects and miniatures for the time. Introductory line to prepare you for me talking about the plot in more detail, and go. This movie doesn't fuck around. Right off the bat, the narrator, that is only really necessary for the intro of the movie, but sticks around for the entire thing, explains how a race of salamander men are planning to destroy the Earth.
They have received an urgent message that the salamander men of the planet Kulaman, deep in the Marpet galaxy, are planning to attack and destroy Earth.
So the Emerald Men, and these crazy-looking starfish men, everything's a men, isn't it? Band together and decide that saving Earth is in both of their respective interests. So out of nowhere, they send the main character for this movie, Starman, down to Earth to protect us from the Salamander Men.
In order to save Earth from the Kulamonian attack, they must once more present the globe meter to one of their fellow creatures and send him to Earth. He is the creature made of the strongest steel, the creature who can disguise himself as an Earthling. He is the creature known as Starman.
He also has a watch that has a load of gadgets and gizmos on it that lets him fly into space and talk badly dubbed, horribly translated Japanese English.
Throw the ball on the ground, and no matter what I'm doing, I'll answer the signal. Don't forget to do that, children, huh?
Not really sure why they bother showing this at all, seeing as it never has any relevance to anything later in the movie, but there you go.
It enables its wearer to do three things: to fly through space, to detect radioactivity, and to speak and understand every language on the planet Earth.
So let me get this straight. They trust the audience enough to accept the fact that you have Emerald Men, robot people and starfish freaks, but explaining how Starman can fly through space and speak English, well, obviously that needs to be explained. Invaders from space, you're all about building up those walls and knocking them right down, aren't you? Always keeping us on our toes, you cheeky rascals. Not even 3 minutes has passed, and we've already been bombarded with all this crazy-ass information. Personally, I wouldn't mind a tad more information about these Emerald Men, but clearly the movie doesn't think they're very important, because they're never even mentioned again.
That's right. They seem to think that they're flying discs. They estimate that their last course is this direction. Put all planes in the immediate area on the emergency.
Is that racist? I think that dub might be a little bit racist. We see these shots of people getting ill from some mysterious disease. It doesn't go much deeper than that, because most of the setup is talked at you by the narrator. It's almost like it's a highlight reel of a typical invasion movie. Alright, on the checklist we have a mysterious alien virus. Okay, mention that in the narration. Alright, we still have the obligatory spaceship destroying the city scene. Oh, and I nearly forgot the weird alien dancing scene. Yeah, don't forget that. That's essential. That really is in the movie. But we're not quite there yet. So these are the scientist characters that you know are eventually going to invent something to save the day. Wait. They don't really deserve to even be called characters. Yeah, I said earlier that Starman is the main character, but not really. He's in it the most and does the most, but I still wouldn't really call him a character. All of the people who aren't Starman or Salamanders are just sort of there to give us a loose reason to care. Kind of, but not really. Oh, fuck it, let's just move on. One of the Salamander men appears in the professor's lab and laughs at him for a bit. And then shoots lightning out of his mouth. Something about this is fucking freaky. Luckily, at about this time, Starman has just about made it to Earth or something. And it turns out, back with the Professor, that the Salamander Man is hypnotizing him and controlling where he walks. I guess that's a thing they can do? So I guess they also have the power to break the fourth wall and laugh straight into the camera like a 7-year-old does the first time they get hold of anything with video recording capabilities. Suddenly, the Salamander Man hears Starman flying.
The Kulamonian hears a dreaded sound from outer space. The sound of Starman approaching Earth.
What the hell did he just call it? A Kulamonian?
The Kulamonian.
So are they Salamander Men or not? Who am I? What am I? I don't even know anymore.
Oh.
What? So you can shoot lightning out of your mouth, break the fourth wall, but the best thing you can do to knock someone out is slap them in the face. These Salamander Men are pretty unpredictable, aren't they? I'll give them that. I don't trust them myself. I don't trust anything that has the word llama in it. So Starman lands and... What? What? The fuck is happening? I think I had a dream like this once. It haunted me for years. It gave me a phobia of crossing huge abandoned bridges in the middle of the night. Luckily, that's not something I really need to worry about, but still, I mean, this is weird, right? This is fucking weird. You know what? Something about this is how I'd imagine aliens would fight in reality. They wouldn't gracefully be flying around in highly choreographed attacks. They probably would just sort of grab each other and flip around for no reason. So he just jumped into the water to escape, but blew up like some kind of powerful explosive. Maybe I'm dreaming. I mean, I've seen some weird shit in this series, but this? Trust Japan to do this to me. I've no clue what reality is anymore. Thanks, Japan.
Father, I'm glad. You're going to get better.
What is with those bandages? He slapped you on the face a little bit. Those bandages are not even close to where he hit you. We cut back to the scientist who explains how there will be terror and panic if people find out about the Salamander Men, or Kulamonians.
If we reveal it to the world, I'm certain it will cause great terror and panic.
And meanwhile, the Salamander Men are being a nuisance by using high decibel sounds to destroy the vital tissue in Skull. I think that's what he says.
The secret Kulamonian attack continues, with still another deadly weapon. High decibel sound waves that destroy vital tissues in Skull.
So Starman goes to investigate. Is it just me, or is that really freaky the way he flies? He looks like a fucking dementor. So Starman chases the spaceship that is destroying the vital brain in Skull, or whatever. He finds a way on board and has a fight with the salamanders until the ship blows up and he flies away. Meanwhile, people are succumbing to the mysterious disease, which the scientists theorize is because the people who caught the disease attended a theatre play. So the doctors go and watch the play to investigate.
My theory is, this is a perfect place from which to spread germs. I think you'll agree to that.
I do, Doctor.
That isn't all. My theory goes on. The performers are not of this earth.
And the germs are my space creatures.
Don't you think that's a little bit of a stretch to jump right to space creatures? Unluckily for the scientists, a salamander man falls down from the ceiling and shoots lightning at them. Meanwhile, thanks to the dangerous disease, all the children are evacuated. But not before Starman can show up and give this kid a crystal ball, which he says sends him a signal if they need him or whatever. Later on, these kids are in the woods chasing butterflies, and come across a hidden salamander castle, which is a thing that exists apparently, which causes the salamander men to dance around them in a big circle and terrorize them for a while. While the kids are being terrorized by salamanders, Starman decides that it might be a good idea to investigate this dance show everyone's talking about, and for some reason he gets a special private showing.
You agreed to give a show for me. It can begin now.
Very well, sir. The troupe will perform a special dance just for you.
And after this really trippy scene where the dancers cut between being salamanders and dancing humans, Starman kicks the shit out of all of them. Bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? It's kind of boring how ultimate Starman is. He's so ridiculously overpowered that literally nothing ever comes close to injuring him. The scientists are being interrogated by the salamander men, using the innocent young girl as leverage by hanging her over acid. So one of the kids summons Starman with a crystal ball, and then he fights them and saves the girl. The salamanders all decide to run away because Starman is too OP, so they all jump off the castle and commit suicide by exploding. Because movie? Back in the Salamander Council, yes, that is a thing. Apart from sitting in the weirdest way possible, they have a little chat about why they suck so hard at invading Earth.
We take over the Earth.
We cut back to the scientist's house, where one of them comes home with bandages wrapped around his face because of an accident in the lab. He better not turn out to be a salamander. It turns out he's a salamander, and instead of just doing his plan, he decides to tell it in its entirety to a little girl.
It was a trick. We wanted to lure your father here and then follow him to the arsenal and learn its location.
Then randomly one of the nurses turns out to be a salamander as well. Not really sure why she has a salamander staff and a salamander cloak, but let's not worry about that. Let's worry about why this little girl asks a homeless man for help when she's being chased by a salamander man. Or woman.
Help me! Please! Help me!
Little girl, I'm sleeping.
So she hides in a bin, but the bin is actually some kind of laundry carry thing that the salamander puts on its back to sneak past the police. And the salamander, I don't know, teleports to being in one of the kids' beds or something. Then it accidentally gets sprayed by a fire extinguisher and melts on the floor. I think. I think that's what just happened.
I thought we were indestructible, but we're not.
That's like the quickest realization of finding out that you're not invincible. Oh, I thought we're indestructible, but I guess it turns out we're not. Shame, really. That would have been cool, wouldn't it? Oh well, we're salamanders, we can deal with it. Always looking forward, us salamanders, no messing about.
Prepare to destroy the arsenal.
What are they doing? They're like flailing their arms around, pretending to be driving a ship, maybe? The director was probably like, yeah, just pretend that there's some kind of alien controls there, or something. Yeah, whatever. Oh, look, it's Starman. He's having another fight. At this point, the salamanders are pretty upset that this one guy is defeating them over and over. So they retreat back to space and come up with a foolproof plan. Okay, and now? Now is when things get weird. It's been pretty weird already, to be honest. What? Really? I didn't know that. Fuck off. Look, I'm talking to myself now. This movie's ruined me. So the salamanders suddenly decide to change the Earth's rotation to murder everyone.
Solution is to change the orbit of the Earth.
These salamander fuckers are persistent, aren't they? They don't just accept losing once. Not even twice. Not even 3 times. Not even 4 times. Why are they even bothering? What could Earth possibly have that makes them want to kill everyone for it so badly? The narrator mentioned that Earth is like the richest planet in the universe or something, but what does that even mean?
Having lost a battle, they seek here a different and more deadly plan with which to conquer Earth, the richest planet in the universe.
They want to rob us like a space bank or something, so they can blow it all on fast cars and drugs? Is that it? Salamander drugs? They already have space travel technology and the power to change the rotation of a planet, but clearly that's not enough for them. But before they can change the rotation of a planet, they have to summon Orlando, because only Orlando has the power to do that. What do you mean, why? When you want to change the orbit of a planet, you always summon Orlando to do it for you. Have you not been paying attention?
Let us summon him to give us a demonstration. Orlando, come. Orlando, come.
I respond to your summons. I shall change the Earth's orbit.
So when Orlando changes the planet's rotation, it makes flowers fly into the air, a dentist's tool fling off, baseballs float. It pretty much just makes a bunch of highly specific inanimate objects float, really. This causes Starman to have a little strop, for some reason. Then he immediately gets over it and flies into the salamander ship in the same way he did before, and has a fight, surprisingly. Could you really have died in a more elaborate way? He punched you in the face. The arm flailing was not necessary. Starman then blows up the ship, as you'd expect. Starman and Orlando then have a fight that's even more epic and excessive than the fight at the end of Man of Steel. And Starman, surprisingly, wins the fight underwater with Orlando exploding for no reason. At this point, the shitty humans have engineered a gun that shoots whatever the stuff is in fire extinguishers, instead of just using already existing fire extinguishers which do have a bit of ability to shoot at range. But anyway, they go through one by one and carefully murder every last one of the salamanders until they're extinct from the universe. The end. Apart from this being the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen, I think this movie might be the greatest thing of all time ever. The fact that there's no choreography for anything. The fact that nothing makes any sense. The fact that the villains are salamanders. The fact that Starman has a little dangly thing on his head. Is perfect. It's all so perfect. And it manages to do it all in under an hour and 20 minutes. Unlike the other entertainingly bad movies in the search for the worst, this one just doesn't fuck about. It gets the job done. It's just scene after scene of pointless retardation that is nothing but an excuse to have Starman fight some salamanders. I don't think there's anything else a movie could need. But perhaps the most entertaining thing of all is imagining what's going through the heads of these people at the beginning in the starfish and robot costumes. Those actors are probably dead or sat in a retirement home right now. Probably so senile that they think the events of this movie are real. Every day, staring out of the window and looking for Starman. And up next in the search for the worst is... Leonard Part 6. What about parts 1 through 5? So that was not Prince of Space, that's Invaders from Space. Maybe I will go back and do Prince of Space one day if I can find it somewhere. So what do you think about Starman and the Salamander Men? Does it look kind of entertaining or kind of stupid? Maybe both. Whatever it is, feel free to tell me in the comments below. Make sure you check out the Search for the Worst playlist, and as always, thanks for watching. All comments and ratings are appreciated. I'll see you next time. Bye!